Welcome to the King Films College Football March Madness bracket. The rules are pretty simple. We're just going to use the last season's performance of the school's football team and parlay that into their performance in the basketball tournament. So pretty much if this were a football tournament of 64 teams, who would win each of the matchups? So to start out in the top left, Gonzaga, I'm pretty sure they don't have a team. App State does. I don't know about Norfolk State, so I'm going to give them the shocking victory there. Oklahoma is going to beat Missouri. That shouldn't be really controversial at all. Creighton has a football team. UCSB doesn't. UVA and Ohio both do, and I was considering Ohio in this one, but UVA is in the better conference here, so I'm going to pick them. They had a better season, I think, overall after looking at the schedule. USC obviously is going to beat both Wichita State and Drake, and then Kansas will beat Eastern Washington despite being horrible at football. Eastern Washington is FCS, but I wasn't sure if they were actually good. I know they play a lot of Pac-12 teams, but I haven't seen them actually beat any of them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll go with Kansas there. And then in the bottom, we've got Oregon and Iowa, pretty uncontroversially. In the second round, Oklahoma, of course, will beat App State. UVA will beat Creighton, and USC will beat Kansas. And Iowa will beat Oregon. Iowa was ranked at the end of the season, I believe, and Oregon was as well. Oregon was like 25, and Iowa was like 16. Either way, they'll beat USC because Oregon did beat USC, and I'm sure Iowa would too. They did it in the bowl game before, in the year before, I think. So Oklahoma is going to beat UVA in not even a close game, and then Oklahoma is going to beat Iowa to send themselves to the Final Four. In the top right, we've got Baylor beating Hartford. Not sure if they even have a football team, but Baylor's going to win despite their horrible season. And usually you'd have Wisconsin winning this game against UNC, but UNC had a great football team this year. They're going to win here. And Villanova is FCS, but they have a team. I don't think Winthrop does. Purdue's going to beat North Texas. North Texas does have a team. And they got a couple wins, but I'm pretty sure that Purdue is better. North Texas lost to App State in that first bowl game. So give me Purdue here. And then Purdue to beat Nova to send them to the Sweet 16. In the Texas Tech-Utah State game, I think Texas Tech had the better season. I'm pretty sure Utah State only won one game or something like that. Texas Tech wasn't the greatest this year, but they'll win that game. And then Arkansas obviously will beat Colgate. Florida, great season, will beat Virginia Tech, but it's really too bad that they have to meet Ohio State in the second round. That might be the best second-round matchup if I had to watch any of these games in the whole bracket. So obviously Ohio State's going to win that as they made the playoff. Florida didn't. Different circumstances as they had to play Alabama twice, I think. So Ohio State's going to make the third round there. Texas Tech's going to beat Arkansas. I had to kind of deduce that. I'm not sure if they actually would in real life, but we want more upsets, so we'll go with that. And then UNC obviously will beat Baylor. UNC will send themselves to the Elite Eight where they will play Ohio State, and even though UNC was good, they were not good enough to take down Ohio State, who made it to the national championship. In the bottom right, Illinois is going to beat Drexel, and Georgia Tech is going to beat Loyola Chicago. This is pretty much just the Power Five winning all these games with few upsets. So moving on from that, I'm going to take Oregon State over Tennessee. Tennessee didn't have the best season. Oregon State didn't either, but they did get wins over Cal and Oregon. Oregon, again, was ranked, and Cal started to turn it on over at the end of the season. So we'll give the 12 seed the upset here. And Oklahoma State is going to beat Liberty, but this one I really deliberated over. At the end of the day, my sense came to Liberty was not ranked at the end of the season. Of course, they beat number 12 Coastal Carolina. Oklahoma State was ranked, and they beat number 18 Miami in the Cheez-It Bowl. So honestly, I think these teams would have been ranked pretty close to each other in the final poll. Liberty only had one loss. Oklahoma State at least had a couple. But I'm going to give Oklahoma State the victory here because I guess tiebreaker goes to basketball, and I'd take Oklahoma State against Liberty. But we'll see what happens in the actual bracket. As you can see, this game's going to have circumstances, whoever won this would obviously get to the Elite Eight. So I'll just pick Oklahoma State for maybe this bracket being better in real life for basketball considerations. Moving on to the bottom half, SDSU is going to beat Syracuse. Again, I think Syracuse only had one win. SDSU went 500 with a loss over to BYU as well. West Virginia is going to beat Morehead State, and Clemson obviously is going to beat Rutgers. Houston's going to beat Cleveland State, but they will ultimately lose to the Clemson in the second round. WVU will beat SDSU. WVU had some bad losses, but ultimately turned in a decent season, so I'm going to have them beating SDSU and then Clemson beating West Virginia to send them to the Elite Eight. As aforementioned, Oklahoma State will easily get to the Elite Eight, but in the Sweet 16 they will play Georgia Tech. I deduced that they had a slightly better season than Illinois, but I don't really know. They never played, obviously. In the left-hand side, Michigan playing the 16 seed. Obviously, Michigan's going to win there. LSU is going to beat St. Bonaventure. Colorado is going to beat Georgetown, an FCS program. FSU is going to beat UNC Greensboro. I had a little deliberation, but BYU obviously is going to beat UCLA or MSU, and then Texas is going to beat Abilene Christian. Maryland's going to beat UConn, and Bama obviously is going to beat Iona. In the second round, obviously, Bama's going to beat Maryland. I'm going to have BYU beating Texas, but again, like that Oklahoma State Liberty game, I'm not really sure who to pick. BYU was ranked higher, won their bowl game over UCF, but Texas won a great game over Colorado. They smashed them, and they looked like the better team by the eye test at the end of the season. But I'm going to go with BYU here. They were ranked higher, so can't go wrong with that, right? In the Colorado FSU game, I'm going to go with Colorado. FSU did have some good wins, including over number 5 at the time, I believe, UNC, but we'll go with Colorado. They went about 500 and got smacked up by Texas in the bowl game. LSU is going to beat Michigan here. Michigan had a really bad year, and LSU actually went to 500, I think, with a couple late wins, including a marquee one over Florida. Colorado's then going to beat LSU again. I'll hear the complaints, but Colorado did receive some votes at the end of the year, I think, before they got smashed, and then Bama is going to scoop up Colorado in that game to send themselves to the Final Four. So this looks awfully like a college football playoff. We've got Oklahoma, Bama in the first game. Obviously, Bama's going to win that. And then Ohio State is going to beat Clemson. And, of course, I don't even want to hear any complaints because we actually did see that game in the college football playoff. And we saw what happened. And then we've got Bama OSU, the national championship in football and the national championship in basketball in this case. And what else is right but to put the score of the game when it happened in football? So we've got a 52-24 basketball game. Bama's good at the 3, but today they're going to play defense, I suppose. So thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave your thoughts on this bracket below.